On August 21st, 2026, the U.S. Customs and Border Protection confirmed that an additional 50% duty fee would begin the next day for specified Canadian origin products entering the U.S. And in an August 12th, 2026 news article, the European Commission said the EU's new packaging regulation had started generally applying that day. Neither change affects every single Etsy seller or every single order, but both can change the profit on a specific route. For a small Etsy shop, international shipping is now a product-by-product, country-by-country question. Does this order still leave a profit after every cost lands? The Canadian rule is called Section 338. Its official list runs 6 pages, and covered entries get an additional 50% duty on top of other duties, taxes, and fees. But a parcel does not get that duty just because it left Canada. The product needs Canadian origin, and its correct customs classification needs to be on the covered list. Etsy's August 19th update says affected goods can include some jewelry, toys, artwork, textiles, and wooden goods. The important word is some. Sellers still need the full 10-digit code and country of origin. One shop can therefore have affected and untouched products. Etsy also says the Canada, United States, Mexico agreement may affect base duty, but it does not erase Section 338's added duty. Etsy Seller Handbook says that since July 9th, orders sent from outside the U.S. need to be delivered duty-paid shipping to qualify for purchase protection. It lists an exception where no delivered duty paid service is available. With delivered duty paid, the seller handles import charges up front, so the cost has to be priced before shipping. Etsy says its tariff estimator is guidance, not a guarantee. Customs and the carrier decide the final charge. The seller reaction shows why the distinction matters. On August 23rd, a Canadian fine art seller said that they had turned off international shipping and gone Canada only. They said roughly half their orders had been coming from the US. Another seller in the same discussion took a narrower route. They disabled U.S. shipping for vintage items whose code were on the list, but kept handmade items available because their code was not listed. Those are individual experiences, not instructions for every shop. They show that the choice is not only stay open or close everything. However, the EU problem works completely differently. The packaging and packaging waste regulation covers packaging placed on the EU market regardless of material or origin. Many detailed design and labeling deadlines come later, so August 12th was not one instant deadline for every requirement inside that regulation. The immediate question is whether the seller counts as the producer for packaging responsibility in the buyer's country. That depends on where the seller is established, who first makes the packaging or packaged product available there, and whether it is sold directly to the end buyer. Article 44 sets registration in each member country where that producer first makes the packaging available. The operational system still runs through national registers. Under the enacted text, a producer established in one EU country and selling directly to an end user in another must appoint a written representative there. For a producer outside the EU, each destination country decides whether to require one. Low volume does not automatically remove the registration question. The regulation gives simplified reporting below 10 tons, while national rules can still differ. Germany makes this concrete. Etsy says qualifying packaging producers use the Lucid packaging register and provide the registration number in Shop Manager. Germany's official register says a foreign business with no German branch that sells packaged products directly to German end users must appoint an authorized representative. The seller still completes the Lucid registration personally. Depending on the packaging, there can also be a recycling system, agreement, and volume reports. On August 3rd, a German Etsy seller said that they'd contacted authorities or producer responsibility organizations in more than 20 countries. In some, they had only 2 or 3 orders a year and used less than 200 grams of packaging. Another commenter believed German Lucid registration covered the whole EU. The official regulation does not support that as a universal answer. The disagreement is the warning. Form advice can sound simple because it leaves out the destination. Before I would turn off an entire country though, I would run a product and destination audit. First, pull the last 12 months and count revenue, orders, and profit by destination. For a US order, confirm origin and customs code, then get the delivered duty paid quote from the carrier you will really actually use. For an EU order, check producer status, the national register, any representative requirement, and whether a recycling agreement applies. Then rebuild the margin. Start with the price collected, then subtract product cost, Etsy fees, postage, packaging, duty, carrier charges, and the compliance cost allocated across the number of orders that country actually sends. You can also check out the add fee and profit calculator in my app, Add to Cart, to get a clear picture of how much profit and ROAS you're actually getting from your orders on organic sales as well as Etsy ad sales. On the regulation side, once the math is visible, keep the destination, reprice it, limit which products can ship there, or pause it. When details conflict, I would trust the Customs Authority National Packaging Register and carrier before a forum comment. Can small Etsy sellers afford to sell internationally? Many can, but the answer is no longer one setting for the whole shop. It is one product going to one country with enough money left after every real cost lands. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below.